Adverse childhood experiences are different experiences that children face which can be traumatic. And so there's different levels and there's different types of trauma that children can face. One of the main ones is an isolated incident. And so that's where you would have something huge where it's a life or death situation. And so this can be like what we'll call a huge trauma. The other one can be smaller traumas, where we'd call them small t traumas. So they're multiple, they can happen over a long period of time, and so they have a compound effect, and then it creates a big problem. Also, you can have traumas come in different forms, so it can be road traffic accidents, domestic violence situations, it can be neglect, it can be different forms of abuse, and all of these things can happen in childhood and then can cause significant problems. One of the problems that occurs is it activates our limbic system and it increases cortisol, adrenaline, we go into fight, flight or freeze, the blood moves away from our digestive system, all of those things that we've talked about in other videos happen. And so when the limbic system's active, they start looking for threats and they change what their perception of threats are because of the different experiences that they've had and the different traumas or adverse childhood experiences. But the main thing with all of these different adverse childhood experiences and traumas is that the brain wants to survive. So the brain then does everything it can to make us survive. And it will do everything in its powers. So it will then make us do things like avoid certain noises, avoid certain places. Anything that reminds us of the traumas, we will then avoid. We will also avoid different people and we won't want to talk about it. We'll try and block it out. And so then we develop unhealthy coping strategies to manage and overcome this. So some unhealthy coping strategies could be having outbursts, being isolated, retreating from others. So that would be not developing good social systems and social friends, not having good outlets to talk about emotions and communicate emotions. In adults, it can be working too much, it can be avoiding people, it can be ending up drinking, taking drugs. It can be anything that you use to avoid dealing with any of the traumas. So then what happens is, because of all this, we develop a bit like a Windows folder where we keep all the important information in. And so we'll monitor things like people's tone of voice. So children will become experts in looking at the tone of voice that is going to cause them the most problems. They'll look at their eye contact. They'll look at the way you use your eyes, the way you use your face, your mannerisms, the way that you hold yourself within the room. All of these things can trigger the traumatic experiences. So children then will learn and develop and keep this folder and become experts in different areas depending on what they've experienced. So what happens next is that children will then develop the safety-seeking behaviours, which can be unhealthy, like mentioned. After the safety-seeking behaviours, they can then change their personality because they've had lots of traumatic experiences, which they've got that Windows folder, and now they've got to look out for certain things, and they might become more isolated, they might not want to be around people, and so they can dramatically shift in how they present. And so a good way to view this is imagine a road map. And so then if we had a big bomb go off and then you've got to navigate through, that's a bit like what the trauma's like. So the trauma is like a bomb that's gone off in the brain's pathways, and now the children are trying to navigate and find the way through life, but they can't do the same things. They can't regulate their emotions the same because of what's happened. So they're trying to find ways to go around, but this is where they really struggle. So traumas affect them massively.